In the vast, frozen expanse of Antarctica, paleoclimatologist Jack Hall narrowly escapes a catastrophic event. As he and his team drill for ice cores, a massive crack splits the ice shelf, a chunk the size of Rhode Island breaking away. This is more than just a geological event, it's a warning. The ice cores reveal a terrifying secret from 10,000 years ago, a runaway warming trend that paradoxically plunged the planet into a sudden, brutal ice age. Jack tries to sound the alarm at a global warming conference in New Delhi, presenting his findings to U.S. Vice President Raymond Becker. He explains that melting polar ice is pouring fresh water into the North Atlantic, threatening to disrupt the ocean current that regulates the Northern Hemisphere's climate. Becker, however, dismisses Jack's warnings as sensationalist fear-mongering, prioritizing the economy over what he sees as a distant, hypothetical threat. Jack argues that the cost of doing nothing could be far higher, but his plea falls on deaf ears. As if to punctuate his point, the conference is hit by a freak snowstorm in the middle of India. Meanwhile, Jack's strained relationship with his brilliant but distant son, Sam, comes into focus. Jack is a workaholic, often absent, a fact his ex-wife Lucy doesn't let him forget. He's late to pick up Sam for a flight to New York City, where Sam is competing in a national academic decathlon. The tension between them is palpable, stemming from a recent failing grade Sam received in calculus. Sam, a straight-A student, explains he does the complex equations in his head, but his teacher accused him of cheating. It's a small conflict that highlights the bigger communication gap between father and son. On the turbulent flight to New York, we meet Sam's friends, Brian and Laura, the latter of whom Sam clearly has a crush on. As they arrive in the city, the weather is already turning biblical, with relentless rain causing widespread flooding. Across the globe, the planet is screaming for help. Tokyo is battered by grapefruit-sized hail. In Scotland, at the Headland Climate Research Center, Professor Terry Rapson notices a series of oceanic buoys reporting a shocking 13-degree drop in water temperature. He immediately contacts Jack, confirming his worst fears. Their models predicted this could happen in 100, maybe 1,000 years, but it's happening now. The data is undeniable. The North Atlantic current is failing. At the same time, Los Angeles is ripped apart by a swarm of unprecedented tornadoes that obliterate the Hollywood sign and tear through downtown, turning the city into a disaster zone. The world is unraveling, and the timeline Jack feared has collapsed from centuries into a matter of days. Back in Washington, Jack and his team feed the new data into their paleoclimate simulation. The results are cataclysmic. The model predicts the birth of a global superstorm, a weather event so massive it will trigger a new ice age within weeks. Jack rushes to present his findings directly to the vice president, urging for an immediate, large-scale evacuation of the northern states. Becker is incredulous, refusing to believe a single scientist's theory warrants abandoning half the country. "Have you lost your mind, Hall?" he scoffs, leaving Jack frustrated and powerless as the world barrels toward disaster. In New York, the rain intensifies. Sam, Laura, and their competitors are caught in the downpour, the city's infrastructure beginning to fail. They have no idea that the storm-gathering strength is about to unleash a fury that will swallow the city whole. As the superstorm system coalesces, it spawns 3 massive hurricane-like vortexes over Canada, Siberia, and Scotland. These aren't normal storms. They begin pulling supercooled air from the upper troposphere down to the surface, causing temperatures to plummet at an impossible rate. In Scotland, a fleet of Royal Air Force helicopters sent to rescue the royal family is caught in the eye of one vortex. Their fuel lines freeze instantly at negative 150 degrees Fahrenheit, and they drop from the sky like stones. Professor Rapson and his colleagues are trapped, watching their own doom approach as they calmly share a last glass of scotch. Rapson's final call to Jack is a haunting confirmation: the flash freeze is real. In New York, the day of reckoning arrives not as a freeze, but as a flood. A colossal storm surge, a towering wall of water, roars through the streets of Manhattan. The Statue of Liberty is submerged to her waist as the wave crashes through the city, swallowing cars, buses, and everything in its path. Sam, Laura, and a handful of others are caught in the chaos. Laura momentarily goes back to a cab to retrieve a bag, and Sam, seeing the tidal wave approaching, runs back for her. They sprint for their lives, barely making it into the New York Public Library just as the water smashes against its doors. They and a small group of survivors are now stranded on the high ground of the library's main floor, an island in a newly formed turbulent sea. The power is out across the city, and communication is nearly impossible. Miraculously, Sam finds an old payphone that still works and manages to reach his father. Jack's voice is a mix of terror and relief. He delivers a grim set of instructions. "Forget what I said about trying to head south. It's too late for that." He explains that the storm will soon turn into a massive blizzard, and the eye of the storm will bring a flash freeze so cold it will kill anyone caught outside in seconds. His orders are simple but stark: stay inside, find a way to stay warm, and burn whatever you can. Then he makes a promise that defies all logic: "I will come for you." After hanging up, Jack announces his intention to his colleagues Frank and Jason. It's a suicide mission, walking from DC to a frozen Manhattan, but his resolve is absolute. His colleague Lucy tries to stop him, but he's already gone, a father driven by a primal need to save his son. At the White House, the reality of the situation finally sinks in. With news of Rapson's death and the horrifying temperature drops, the president finally authorizes Jack's evacuation plan. But it's a brutal act of triage. They draw a line across the country. Everyone south of it will be evacuated to Mexico, while the northern states are deemed unsalvageable, left to fend for themselves. The U.S. government negotiates a deal with Mexico, forgiving all Latin American debt in exchange for opening the border to millions of American refugees. It's a humbling reversal of fortunes. As the southern population flees, the president's motorcade is caught in the storm, and he doesn't make it. Vice President Becker, the man who scoffed at the warnings, is now the reluctant president of a fractured and freezing nation. Inside the library, a schism forms. Most of the survivors, led by a police officer, decide to ignore Sam's warnings and make a break for the south on foot. Despite Sam's desperate pleas that the storm will kill them, they leave, marching out into the rapidly accumulating snow. Only a small group, including Sam, Laura, Brian, JD, and a librarian, stay behind. They retreat into a room with a fireplace and begin their fight for survival, starting with the most painful act imaginable for lovers of knowledge: burning books. The tax law section is the first to go. Their situation grows more dire when Laura, who cut her leg during the flood, develops a raging fever. It's blood poisoning, and without antibiotics, she will die. The survivors are not alone in the frozen city. A pack of wolves that escaped from the Central Park Zoo has taken refuge on a massive Russian cargo ship that has washed up near the library. Hearing of Laura's condition, Sam, Brian, and JD know they must venture onto the ship to search for medical supplies, a dangerous mission that will pit them against both the elements and the hungry predators. After a tense chase, they find penicillin and make it back just as the eye of the superstorm descends on New York, plunging the world into an eerie, silent calm before the lethal deep freeze hits. They slam the library doors shut just as the cold snap instantly freezes the city solid, the flag outside freezing and shattering in the wind. Meanwhile, Jack's trek north becomes a grueling odyssey. While crossing through a glass-roofed shopping mall buried in snow, the glass cracks under Frank's weight. He falls, tangled in his harness. The glass can't hold both him and the sled of supplies. Knowing this, Frank cuts his own rope, sacrificing himself to save Jack and Jason. Devastated but determined, the two press on, now on foot, into the frozen heart of the storm. The superstorm finally dissipates, leaving behind a world transformed. The northern hemisphere is encased in ice, a silent white monument to nature's power. Jack and Jason, weary but alive, trudge through the frozen wasteland of New York City, past ships stranded in the streets and skyscrapers buried in snow. It's a haunting, beautiful, and terrifying landscape. They finally arrive at the library, their hopes dwindling, and push open the frozen doors. Inside, gathered around a flickering fire, are Sam and the small band of survivors. The reunion between Jack and his son is quiet, powerful, and filled with unspoken emotion. Jack simply says, "I'm sorry, Jack," and embraces his boy. He kept his promise. From a makeshift U.S. consulate in Mexico, the new president, Becker, addresses the nation and the world. He admits his own ignorance and arrogance, acknowledging the devastating consequences of humanity's consumption of the planet's resources. His speech is one of humility and hope, a promise to learn from their mistakes. As he speaks, search and rescue helicopters are dispatched to the north. One of them lands outside the library, rescuing Jack, Sam, and the others. As they lift off, they see other small groups of survivors huddled on rooftops, a testament to human resilience. From the International Space Station, astronauts look down upon the planet. The ice caps have expanded dramatically, but the atmosphere has never been clearer. On the helicopter, someone remarks on how clear the air is. The Earth has been violently cleansed. Mankind has been given a second chance, a fresh start in a colder, harsher, but perhaps wiser world. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.